News Talk 1240.
Hey, good cold morning for us here in Hickson and the Chattanooga area. It is freezing, literally freezing, actually. It is 27, oh geez, it is 27 degrees right now in Hickson, and it is supposed to get a little bit warmer, but I don't see it getting that much warmer, probably not above freezing for very long. We're already almost at peak sun height. 12 o'clock is when, of course, the sun gets to its peak height, and it's going to be the warmest then. And I don't really see it getting that warm today. The high is 36, low is 24. And even when it is above freezing, you feel like you're going to die sometimes when it's really, really cold. And I do got to warn you, actually, we're sort of playing into that with what apps we're going to be talking about today and what tech tactics you can take today. We're going to be playing into the whole winter weather thing because it's getting kind of bad, actually. This week, we're expecting some pretty bad weather. Tomorrow morning, it might snow. In fact, there's a 90% chance of that. So we'll just straight up tell you it's going to snow Wednesday morning. And of course, it being the case, we are seeing some rain as well. And that being the case, it could very well be freezing rain, which means icy roads, icy conditions. So we're going to keep you informed. We're going to keep you updated on what exactly goes on here in the Chattanooga area, here on Hot News Talk Radio. As of right now, there is a winter weather advisory for several areas in our area. Bradley County in Tennessee has a winter weather warning. Catoosa County in Georgia, my stomping grounds, has a weather warning. Of course, Hamilton County, Meigs County, and Ray County all have winter weather warnings for those areas. How do I know that? Well, we get lots of different updates from all over the place here at Hot News Talk Radio. And actually, if you can get different apps for different news services, and they'll give you regular updates on when those are. Of course, you can get the TuneIn Radio app, and we'll keep you informed via your ears here at Hot News Talk Radio to let you know when the winter weather advisories are. If you follow us on Twitter, too, we'll let you know where exactly those winter weather warnings are. We also let you know when the schools were delayed because for some reason, I don't know why, even though it wasn't that bad out, honestly. I mean, we've seen worse. There wasn't any rain or anything in our area in Chattanooga. There was no rain. But for some reason, schools were delayed for 2 hours in Hamilton County and 2 hours in several other counties as well. Catoosa didn't have any delays because I guess we're just used to it in Catoosa. But I don't know, man. For some reason, there was a 2 hour delay in Hamilton, and that made no sense to me whatsoever. But that's just how it is. Perhaps they mixed up today with tomorrow. Chances are, anyway, my point is, chances are tomorrow, we're probably going to be seeing more delays or straight up cancellations of school. So, that being the case, we will certainly keep you updated on that here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com, and on our Twitter account, Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. Be sure to check that out. We'll let you know when there are any winter weather advisories or school closings or delays, because we all know how important those are. School warnings, school closings, school delays, winter weather advisories. These are all very important things to know, because if something like that happens and you end up taking your kid to school and there's no school on, that's kind of a problem. Plus, it's always a risk when you take a drive, right? It's always a risk. So we should mitigate that risk as much as we can when we're driving, right? Okay, think about it this way, right? It's snowing, it's raining, perhaps even freezing rain, and you're driving your child to school because you're a good parent. You're driving your kid to school, and you're not homeschooled, I guess. You're driving your kid to school, and you know what? There's freezing rain. That's kind of a problem, isn't it? We all hate it when there's freezing rain, and now it makes the roads that much more dangerous. So we need to stay informed. There's a lot of ways you can do that. Obviously, you can listen to Hot News Talk Radio, where we're telling you right now what the winter weather is like. Be glad, though, that we're not in Michigan, because right now it's -6 in some areas of Michigan. In Chicago, 0 degrees in Chicago, and even 0 Fahrenheit. So there's always something to be thankful for. And right now, be thankful we're not Yankees, because it is freezing out there. So one way that I keep informed about the weather and different advisories and things is actually my phone will often give me an emergency alert if there's a weather or school advisory. Now, something that I really hate, I always hate it when this happens, is I get one of those Amber Alert things on my phone. It starts buzzing. It makes the emergency alert sound, that screeching data burst sound, and it's really annoying. But sometimes it's really informative. Most of the time, I'll be honest, most of the time it's just a Amber Alert in a county that's way far away from me, and I can't really do anything about it. And you feel bad, right? Like I'm sad that a child has been abducted or has been taken away from home without the parents' knowledge or whatever. That's sad. But let's be honest, I can't really do anything about that because I'm not in Meigs County or I'm not up in Kingsport, Tri-Cities. I can't do anything about that. Just because my number's a 423 doesn't mean that I'm in all of middle and northern Tennessee. It just doesn't work that way. Because 423, in case you didn't know, has a huge area of effect, and it sort of breaks off at Knoxville and then starts up again near Tri-Cities. It's really weird. If you look at a area code map, which you've no reason to do unless you're a total nerd like I am, if you ever look at an area code map, it's really weird because 423 just stops in the middle of Tennessee and then starts up again in the northern area of Tennessee near the Kentucky border. It's bizarre. Don't know why it does that, but it is what it is. So that's your area code tip of the day. I don't know. Yeah, but there's a winter weather advisory now for Bradley, Catoosa, Hamilton, Meigs, Ray, and that's about it in our area. So lots of winter weather advisories. Grundy County as well, I should say. Lots of winter weather advisories. So how can we stay informed with our phones? Because if the power goes out, we still have our phones, right? And chances are the cell towers are still going. That's kind of the fun thing about having a cell phone is even if the power goes out, you still have a battery on your cell phone. And chances are you still have a charge on your cell phone battery so you can find out what the heck is going on, especially in your area locally. If you have a 4G data connection, then you can find out what exactly is going on with your data connection too. So it's not going to be particularly slow. I mean, if you want to, you can even watch movies and read books over Wi-Fi or over your data connection. So if you have a big enough data connection, you can do that. And it's actually pretty easy. So if the power goes out, it's not like all is lost. It's not like in the old days where you fired up your gas lantern and you read a book. You don't have to do that anymore. I mean, you can if you want to, but you don't have to anymore. You can stay informed with current events because let's face it, the newspaper isn't going to tell you about what's happening right here and now. And the radio is, but maybe you don't get power. Well, you can use the TuneIn radio app to listen to Hot News Talk Radio, even if your power's gone out. As long as you still have a data connection, we're still here. Something to keep in mind, though, is if your power goes out, you're not going to have Wi-Fi because your router is powered by your house's power. You're not going to have Wi-Fi anymore. You're going to have to turn on your cell phone data to listen to Hot News Talk Radio on the TuneIn radio app. So you got to keep that in mind, too. So this is just one more added layer. And by the way, to get the TuneIn radio app, it's super easy. All you have to do is go to, and I'll do this with you. Let's go to our app stores here. So I'll open mine up, lagging a bit because I've got about 14 million apps open right now. Go to our Play Store, go to the search bar at the top, super easy. I'll delete my current search because I don't really need to search for that anymore. Search for Tune, T-U-N-E-I-N, Tune In. Wait for autocorrect to catch up with me. There we go. You should see a little thing that pops up that says Tune In Radio and Music. Tap on that, and then you'll be blasted over to the Tune In Radio app. All you have to do is install that. It should take a few seconds. Install that, and then once you're done, search for Hot News Talk Radio, and you'll be able to listen to us streaming live there on the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone. If for some reason you can't get the TuneIn Radio app, then hotnewstalkradio.com will also work on your phone. It'll start streaming live that way. So Hot News Talk Radio also works on your cell phone. You can also stream Hot News Talk Radio from your phone. So that's not a problem either, just in case. But if you have the TuneIn Radio app, then you can listen to Hot News Talk Radio streaming that way. Really handy. I do it a lot. Especially because this is kind of silly, but the radio in my car doesn't work. I keep meaning to replace it. I just haven't gotten around to it. And I don't really need to because I always listen on my phone anyway. So I just have the TuneIn Radio app and I listen to Hot News Talk Radio that way. If you have a Bluetooth radio too, by the way, if you have Bluetooth in your car radio, which most newer cars will, like say from 2010 onward, so the last 6 years now of cars will have Bluetooth built in. So all you have to do is hook up your Bluetooth radio with your Bluetooth phone, super easy, and then you can turn on the TuneIn Radio app and it'll start broadcasting to you live that way over the TuneIn Radio. So super easy. It's basically no brains required to do it. Very easy stuff. And that's what I like about a lot of phone technology is it's not like it's designed to be easy to use. A lot of people are kind of wary of using their cell phone because they think, it's going to be hard, it's going to be tough. Don't worry, because I'm not saying that you're dumb because you can't figure out phones. That's not the case. That's really not how it is. But sometimes there is that apprehension there where we're thinking, I'm afraid to use my phone because it's scary. It's a whole new world that I'm getting involved with. And it's not that scary. And even if you do feel afraid, jump in anyway. It's not a big deal. Just jump in and you'll find that it's actually designed to be easy to use. That's the fun thing about phones. They're designed to be easy to use. But when we're talking about cell phones, we have to keep in mind another thing too. When we're talking about cell phones, we're not just talking about smartphones, especially, we're not just talking about a phone. Stop thinking of it as a telephone. It's not that anymore. It hasn't been for 10 years. It's not just a telephone. What you're holding in your hand here now is a computer. It's a fully fledged communications device that is also a computer. It's a computer more than anything. It's a computer that can also make phone calls and texts. That's what it is. It's not just, oh, I can make phone calls and maybe I can play some games. It's more than that. It's not the Nokia era anymore. This is 2016. It's not 2007. Things have changed a lot in the last few years. And you'd be forgiven for not realizing that because technology moves extremely quickly. And that's why I'm here, is to let you know exactly how fast it's moved and what exactly has changed. And if you're just getting into the cell phone game, there's a lot to get used to. One thing that I would recommend getting immediately is Google Now for your phone, and Google Maps too. Even if you have an iPhone, you realize that Android and Apple or rather Android and iOS are two different things. But even if you're on iOS, if you have an iPhone, you can actually download Google Apps with no problem. Google Maps is for iPhone. Google Now is for iPhone. Pretty much any Google service that you could get on an Android phone, you can also get on an iPhone. Something that I really like is Google Now. To me anyway, it tends to work better than Siri. I like it better than Siri anyway. I'll put it that way. So if you have an Android phone, you can use Siri, no problem. If you have an iPhone, you can use, if you have an Android phone, you can use Google Now, no problem. And if you have an Apple phone, you can use Siri, no problem. And they all work out really well. And they have a lot of hidden functionalities that you might not even think about. So let's go into some of those, because I'm using Google Now, and I want to talk about some of these cool functionalities that are just amazing to me, how cool they are. They are astoundingly cool. So you can talk to Google Now like it's a friend. You can talk to Google Now like it's someone in the room. They're designed to be easy to use. You don't have to be like, think about Star Trek, right? Where Captain Picard would be like, computer, and he gives all the, different instructions. It's not like that anymore. With voice recognition that's on phones these days, it's super easy. Watch this. Here's something that I can do with my phone right now. Okay, Google, give me directions to the nearest gas station.
BP is 1 minute from your location by car and light traffic. Here are your directions.
See? How easy was that? All I said was give me directions to the nearest gas station. And it was as easy as that. It gave me directions to the nearest gas station. Now, granted, I already knew where that was, but let's say that you are stuck somewhere or you're in a place you're not familiar with and you're running out of gas. All you have to do is you don't even have to push any buttons. You just wake up your phone and say, okay, Google, where's the nearest gas station?
Here are the listings for the nearest gas station within 0.4 miles.
And there you go. Now you can hit on the little button that says directions, and it'll start giving you directions to get there. And it's step by step. It's just like your GPS. So let's say I want to go to the Kangaroo Express on Hickson Pike, which is nearest to me. So I hit directions. If I have Google Maps installed, it automatically launches Google Maps. It's super easy. And you can do this on your iPhone too. A lot of the same functionalities are going between them. If you have Siri, it'll give you a listing and you can hit get directions. It'll launch Apple Maps for you. So it's meant to be easy to use. And it's as easy as just asking for it. A lot of the times that's how it is. With your phone, you're wondering how to do something. Oftentimes you can just ask for it. Even if you're wanting to, say, launch an app, Siri will do that for you too. If you can't find it in your app listing, you can ask your phone to launch that app. I can do that right now and I'll show you. Let me get back to my home screen. And of course, it's lagging because that's how phones always are when you're trying to do something. Oh, it's because it's trying to get directions. It's waiting for my location from the GPS. So it's firing up the old GPS chip. Here we go. Okay, Google. Today, please. Oh, you know what? It's because I have that turned off. Hold on. See, phones always do that. When you're trying to do something, they always mess up on you when you're trying to show somebody something. Get used to that too, by the way. Here we go. Okay, Google. Come on, phone. What's going on? Launch Podcast Addict. And there we go. Now it's launching the app. So all you have to do is ask it to do it. And phones will lag sometimes too, by the way. Generally, let's explain what's going on when your phone lags out on you. What I mean by lags is you'll hit a button on your phone and it'll take a second to recognize what you're doing there. What generally is going on with that is your phone is doing something in the background. So that means that it's working on a lot of stuff. Your phone is doing a lot that you're not really seeing. It's calculating all sorts of different things. It's calculating, say, telemetry, where you're at right now. It's calculating, where you are right now. Don't want to get David Tulis in on me. It's calculating your location. It's calculating just all sorts of different things in the background. Plus, it's getting updates from your Twitter account, your Facebook account, if you're linked to those, from Google too. It's also looking for updates. So if your phone lags out on you, and that's what I mean by lag, if your phone lags out on you, don't worry about it. It's not like it's screwing up majorly. It's just, it's doing something in the background. And that happens a lot. It's not a big thing. It's just something that happens. Something you can do is close apps that you have running in the background. So on your iPhone, you'll double tap the home button, which is a little round button, and it'll give you a list of apps. You can swipe them away. I have a ton of, I've got apps open from Sunday still. I've got a lot open on my iPhone or on my Android phone. On Android, there's a little square on the right-hand side, far right-hand side. Tap that. It'll show you a list of apps you have open. You can swipe them to the right or left to get rid of them. If you're in landscape view, you can swipe them up to get rid of them. And that can save you quite a bit of memory if you still have your apps open. It happens to all of us. No worries. It's just something that happens. With Google Now, too, you can do something like this. Okay, Google, tell me where the nearest restaurant is.
Here are the listings for restaurant within 0.4 miles.
Now, notice something. I kind of messed up when I was talking there, but it didn't recognize that. It corrected for it. So even if you mess up when you're talking, it'll correct for it. Because I said, look, where's the nearest, it'll fix for that. I don't know how it does it. It's weird, but it does. So there's a lot of new functionalities in phones these days. It's not just a phone. It's a computer. It's an everything. It can replace so many different objects in your life. Do you have an e-reader, for instance, that you bought maybe 5-6 years ago? You don't need the e-reader anymore. Your iPhone will do that for you. Do you have a tablet that you had a long time ago? You might not even need the tablet anymore because your phone will replace that. Do you have a laptop? Chances are you might not even need that anymore unless you're doing, word processing where you require a lot of typing. You can replace a lot of different things with your phone. In fact, you can actually use a Bluetooth keyboard with a phone. A lot of people don't know that. You can actually use a keyboard with your phone. If you have an Android phone, you can do all sorts of fun things, but we'll get into that some other time. That's a way more technical thing. We don't really need to get into it today. That's a story for another day. If you're wanting to know about nearest gas stations, by the way, there is a app that will calculate the lowest gas price in your area. It's called Gas Buddy. You should definitely get Gas Buddy. Not being paid by Gas Buddy to say that, by the way. Gas Buddy is the name of the app. GASBUDDY, Gas Buddy. And it'll tell you where the nearest gas station is and give you directions to it and tell you where the lowest price is located. So if you're not worried about, say, distance to the gas station, you can get a better deal by going to particular gas stations that have lower gas prices. Now, of course, chances are the Costco is going to have the lowest gas price just because that's how it'd be. And if you don't have a Costco membership, then that can be kind of problematic. Not all of us can afford that every year, right? So you can find out where the nearest gas station is that also happens to have the lowest gas price. Here now, we have amazingly low gas prices right now. I don't know how long it's going to last. Oil might see another spike, but oil prices are ridiculously low right now. It was under $30 a barrel for a few days there. The Dow saw a surge today. Oil prices took another surge for some reason, and now it's back up to above 30. But still, I saw in some areas $1.38 for a gallon of gas. Now's a great time to be getting gas. If you're worried about filling up, now's a good time to do it because gas prices might be going up again sometime soon. So keep that in mind too. That's another tip from me to you. But Gas Buddy is a really good app for that. Go ahead and download Gas Buddy. It'll tell you all sorts of cool things. I don't think Google actually aggregates gas prices. I don't think it does. So that's one functionality that an app can add to your phone. But something, again, that a lot of people don't know is your phone has a lot of functionalities built in, even without downloading extra apps. There's a lot that your phone can do without anything added. That's kind of the funny thing about it is your phone can do so much even before you start installing apps. With Android phones especially, it'll start doing your mail for you, your email, I mean. It'll start doing your Google Docs, all the different Google services you're already using, you can immediately start using with your Android phone. And if you use Apple services on your iPhone, you can start doing all sorts of fun things with your iPhone already. It has iCloud already installed. Apple Maps is already installed. Apple Photos, which is included in iCloud. All that fun stuff is already installed. By the way, if you're running an iPhone or an Android phone, you can set it to back up your photos automatically to save yourself some storage. I'm going to run Google Photos right now, and tell it to automatically back up my photos. So then I can delete the photos off of my phone. As long as I have a data connection or Wi-Fi, I can then access those photos and even videos for free too. And that's the fun thing with Google Photos, is it's actually free if you use their compression. So that saves you a little bit of space on your iPhone or your Android phone. You can do that with the iCloud, and you can do that with Google Photos. We're going to get more into the winter weather situation that we're just about to get into here in a few hours, actually, here on Hot News Talk Radio on Binary.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
On your signature, you can get $150,000. Can you believe that? $150,000 on your signature. Hi, I'm Bruce Krebs with the Entrepreneur Source. There's a program right now that you can get $150,000 on your signature with no pledge of collateral or personal guarantee. Call me at 423-875-5621 to learn more. 423-875-5621. You've been thinking about starting a business and becoming self-sufficient. Don't do it on your own. I have a proven track record for the last 13 years, a 96% success rate. I can guide you into a franchise where you will pay yourself through the startup phase with very low or little risk. Call me now. I'm Bruce Krebs at 423-875-5621. 875-5621. And make sure to listen to the Entrepreneur Hour every other Wednesday from 11 to 12 o'clock here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Call me now, 875-5621.
While politicians debate climate change and taking our guns, they leave America vulnerable to disaster. You need to act now to keep your family safe and prepared. Do you have an emergency plan? Do you have long-term storage food? Do you have the skills and mindset to survive a disaster? If not, what are you waiting for? Call P5 Preparedness right now, 423-602-2175. Do you honestly think the government is going to help you? If you do, you are wrong, dead wrong. Don't get caught unprepared. Let the experts at P5 Preparedness get you ready for any emergency or disaster situation. Today, we offer a wide range of classes for the beginner on how to prepare, as well as the expert prepper. We stock a wide range of supplies, including long-term storage food, water filtration, outdoor gear, tactical gear, and plate carriers. P5 Preparedness, East Brainerd Road between I-75 and Gun Barrel Road. You will see the Army Deuce and a Half truck, 423-602-2175, 1309 Panorama Drive, Chattanooga. P5preparedness.com.
Don't be a victim. Arm yourself today at Carter Shooting Supply and Indoor Range, offering the finest selection of personal firearms and ammo, especially the hard-to-find ammunition. You know the police can't protect you. They show up after the crime is committed. The ability to protect yourself, your family, and when called upon, your nation is enshrined in the United States Constitution. Shop the largest selection of shooting supplies on their online store, CarterShootingSupply.com. Carter Shooting Supply and Indoor Range, the largest and cheapest selection in Chattanooga. 6210 Highway 58, Harrison. Call 344-1099. That's 344-1099. Keep your family safe by buying them a certificate for Carter Shooting Supply Tennessee Handgun Permit Class. And stop by today to consult one of their qualified experts. They'll fit you perfectly to the firearm that meets your needs. Call 344-1099. You'll always find the widest selection of new and used firearms at Carter Shooting Supply and Indoor Range. 6210 Highway 58, Harrison. Call 344-1099.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. The Hamilton County School Board will be meeting today at 5:30 in a closed-door session. District Attorney Neil Pinkston will be speaking about the Ottawa High School rape investigations, as well as his findings regarding the status of bullying and hazing in county schools. School board member Dr. Greg Martin said, "I think the community has made it pretty clear that they've lost confidence in the system and I think there needs to be a change. A brother and sister have been arrested on robbery charges after the robbery of a one-stop mini-mart on South Lee Highway in Cleveland. Security cameras purportedly show one person demanding money with a handgun. Sheriff Eric Watson credited the arrest to information his office received from the public. And TDOT is holding a sign contest to see who can come up with the best safety message for the dynamic message displays on interstates. TDOT's goal with those messages is to raise awareness of highway safety. Last year's winning entry was texting and driving, oh, sell no. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Sunny and cold weather continues out there through the afternoon. Highs slowly warming into the mid-30s. Tonight, more clouds, lows lower 20s. For Wednesday, an area of light snow will push in, gradually changing to a wintry mix and eventually to all rain from the south and west late, with highs staying into the 30s. The cold is here, but Dodge City Ski Shop will keep you and your family toasty warm with the largest selection of cold weather clothing around, as well as snow sleds for the kids. That's Dodge City Ski Shop, East Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. And I'm Sorgene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hey, good chilly afternoon here. This is it, Binary, here on Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240. We're always here at hotnewstalkradio.com. There is construction going on next door, and it's rattling the entire place. So if something blows up and you hear me screaming in pain, that's because someone dropped an electrical conduit and it landed on my head. So that's what's going on in the background. No worries there. I want to talk about emergency situations, though, and I kind of teased that yesterday. I kind of teased that last segment and totally got sidetracked by talking about Google Now. That's okay. It happens. It's radio. You can do what you want. So we're going to talk about emergency situations now and what we can do if we happen to get into one. And what if we're incapacitated, too? What can we have on our phones that's going to help us out if we're incapacitated? Because we don't think about that very often. We don't think about ourselves becoming incapacitated. Oftentimes we think about ourselves as being kind of infallible, right? We think about ourselves as being always alert or always aware of what's happening around us, which is a simile for alert. But you know what I mean? We always think of ourselves as being in the situation. We don't think of ourselves as being knocked out of the situation or knocked out of the game somehow. Like when we think about playing football, if you ever played a sport, we always think about ourselves in the game. We don't think about ourselves sitting on the sidelines because we tore our ACL. That's not what you think about. And we think about life much the same way. We don't think about what's going to happen if something happens to us. We think about what's going to happen if something happens to another person. And that's something that's definitely worthy of thinking about. A lot of people, especially males, I've found, tend to be very much thoughtful of other people. How can we help other people? We tend to be helpful by nature. We tend to be very emotional in that way. You know, men are not very emotional in general, but when it comes to helping other people, I think we tend to be very emotional that way. But that's a spiel for another day about sociology and whatever. And I didn't go to school, so we'll save that one for another time. We'll wait till I get my degree in sociology before we get into that one. But anyway, what happens if we become incapacitated and the emergency services have to help us? Because, you know, let's think about this. Because my cousin is an EMT, actually. So I've got a little bit of experience with this. I've never been an EMT myself, but my cousins told me horror stories. When the EMTs come and they're trying to help you, and let's say that you've become incapacitated and you can't speak. The EMTs are not there to rat you out, right? EMTs are not there to call the cops on you because you had an OD, right? Not to say that that'll happen to you, but that sort of put things in perspective about EMTs and their job. They're not there to rat you out. They're there to help you. EMTs, it is their job to make sure that you stay alive. So they're going to do that to the best of their ability. So what can we do to help out the EMTs when they get there? Well, there's an app that you can get for both Android and iPhone called ICE, and it's called It's called ICE stands for In Case of Emergency. So actually, EMTs will sometimes look for ICE apps. It's a good thing to have. Now, it's sort of it's a good thing because you can list your allergies, you can list what medicines you're currently on. what's prescribed to you or what have you. You can list what you need. You can list if you have some sort of pre-existing medical condition, like say diabetes. Do you have a problem with blood clots, low blood pressure, high blood pressure, all sorts of little things EMTs need to know, because if you're incapacitated, there's a whole laundry list of different drugs they can give you, and it's all situational. So they need to know everything they can about you. Some people wear the ice bracelet, and that's cool, right? But what about an app? Because sometimes, ice bracelet, we don't want to make a fashion statement out of our illness. You know what I mean? I know people who are like that, and that's cool. So an app can help us out with that while being sort of under the radar about it. Now, Ice Card is another app for doing that. There's Ice and there's Ice Card, and there's a bunch of different apps that'll help you out. This one says it's a convenient way to store information needed by rescuers and doctors if you are a victim of an emergency. In addition to a list of contacts of the closest persons, it also allows you to save information about taken medications, past diseases, allergies, and other health information. Because let's say you're allergic to latex, that's kind of a big deal. Or you're allergic to some sort of medication, again, that's kind of a big deal. EMTs need to know that information. So you can get the ICE app, and it shows up nice, bright, and red on your home screen, the ICE app, and EMTs can look for that to make sure they can help you out the best way possible. So make sure that you have that. It's a good thing to have on your phone in case something happens to you, because we always like to think we're prepared. Right? We always like to think, especially me, I like to think I've always got my head in the game. I'm always there. I'm always prepared. I know what's going on around me. Most of the time, that's not true. So I need to think more about I need to think of as much about my vulnerabilities as I do about my strengths, because I have a lot of strengths, I think, and I have a lot of vulnerabilities too. So we tend to surround ourselves with people who work with those and play with those too, so we have the best combo. But that's, again, a topic for another day. So the ICE app is really good for that. If you want to be prepared, by the way, there's a store that dedicates itself to helping you stay prepared. It's called P5 Preparedness. It's in East Brainerd, and you can go there to, make sure that you are prepared. P5 Preparedness is there to help you out. And Duke has a show every Thursday here on Hot News Talk Radio at 11 o'clock where he talks about preparedness and what you can do to stay prepared. P5 Preparedness. You can also go to p5preparedness.com, or you can go on Facebook and search for P5 Preparedness. They're there on Facebook and on Twitter too. P5 Preparedness is on Twitter and on Facebook. So 2 ways you can stay informed and you can stay prepared as well, because preparedness, especially in today's political, socioeconomic climate, is very important. We have a lot of troubles, it seems, and preparedness isn't just something. And I've talked to Duke, and I don't want to steal his thunder at all, but I want to say you should definitely listen to you should definitely listen to the Patriot Prepper Show, which is on every Thursday. But I want to say that technology sort of plays a role in that, because preparedness isn't just something that you do in terms of I've got a gun and a bug out bag and I'm ready for the coming crisis, which is a good thing to do. But there's a lot we can do in just everyday life where I'm prepared in case winter weather comes. And I want to talk, because I don't want to steal Duke's thunder, I want to talk about the phone aspect of that, what we can do on our cell phones, what we can do technologically to make sure that we are prepared for any kind of situation that may pop up. One thing that I would strongly recommend is a good battery pack, a good phone power cell, right? A good power cell for your phone. These are extremely important. They're amazingly useful for so many different reasons. What they do is, in case, say, power goes out, and your phone battery is not going to last forever. Even a Moto G battery, which is great, is not going to last forever. So what can we do to mitigate that? Well, we can either have a portable generator or have a UPS that'll charge it for a little while, or we can have a little power cell that's dedicated to charging a phone. And that's an extremely useful device, especially if you have an Android phone. They just tend to charge really quickly. A UPS is really good for that. So, or rather, a power cell is really good for that. So you can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them at Best Buy. You can buy them at Walmart. Just ask for a power cell for your phone. The chances are they'll know what you're talking about. Something to keep in mind, though, if we're talking about power cells, is when you're going to buy one, if you have an iPhone, especially the newer iPhone, it's going to be a different connector than it would be, say, for the Android phones. They use 2 different power connectors. So you got to keep that in mind when you're buying one. There's going to be an iPhone power cell and there's an Android power cell, and they're 2 different things. You can charge tablets off of them too. The iPad will charge off of one just fine as well, but you got to make sure the connectors are the right ones, just to be sure. Because the power cell has to charge from the wall first before you can use it on your phone. So that's something you got to keep in mind. And just, you don't want to be caught with the wrong power cell. You've charged it and everything, but then when you go to charge your phone with it, it's not the right one. And actually, they sell power cells that also have LED lights on them, which is extremely useful for a plethora of reasons. They don't draw a whole lot of power. LEDs are extremely low powered, but they're extremely bright too. So it's very useful for any number of reasons. So lighting is one of the things that we tend to, for some reason, not think about when we think about preparedness. Lighting is very important. Your phone, chances are, has a flashlight built in. If you have Android, you've probably already got a flashlight app already on there. So I'll show you it. If you're watching on YouTube, by the way, you can go to YouTube and search for Hot News Talk Radio, and you'll see our live stream there. It's called Winter Weather and Emergency Apps, and then it has the name of the show and the date. You can see I've just turned on my flashlight on my phone, and it's really, really bright. You can see how bright that is. That's crazy. Just turn it off because it drains battery really quickly. My phone has a dual flash on it, so it's 2 LEDs that power the flash. And there's different reasons for that, but it's a very, very bright flashlight. The problem with that, though, is it drains a lot of battery. So while you can use your phone as a flashlight, and that's totally cool, you have to keep in mind that is going to drain your battery pretty quickly. The flashes are very powerful on phones, so it's going to drain the battery pretty quickly. You might lose 30 minutes to an hour of charge time by using your phone flashlight for any amount of time. So you got to keep that in mind too. So we talked about the ice app, and I want to remind you that we have some bad winter weather coming up. Tomorrow morning, there's snow expected, and I'm on the fence about whether or not I'll just stay the night here so I don't have to worry about driving in the snow. Lots of schools, I'm sure, are going to be having different warnings or even closings. We'll keep you updated on that as they come about. But Wednesday, snow is expected during the morning. That'll transition over to light rain during the afternoon. Sleet may mix in too. The high tomorrow is 37, and it is going to be windy as well. And there's about a 20% chance of rain Wednesday night. It's going to pick up again Thursday with more rain. But remember how the weather has been. Remember, it's been freezing during the nighttime hours. When the sun goes down, it almost immediately goes down to freezing. So keep that in mind when we're talking about the snow and the rain. If it accumulates, if the rain causes puddles, which it inevitably will, and then that freezes over, that's a big problem for us. So if we get icy conditions, schools may just not open at all. Now, for some reason, we were under a 2-hour delay in Hamilton County and Catoosa. Not Catoosa, but Hamilton and Meigs, Ray, and Bradley were all under, and Grundy too, were all under delays. And right now, Bradley, Catoosa, Hamilton, Meigs, and Ray are under winter advisories right now. So we may not see schools opening tomorrow. We'll keep you updated on that. And I'm not saying they aren't open now, but we might not be seeing schools open tomorrow. We'll keep you updated on that. It all depends on what happens with the weather. Weather's a weird thing. It changes all the time. But we'll keep you updated on our Twitter, our Facebook, and on the radio on the airwaves here, Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. If you want to know about the weather real quick, there's an easy way to do that. If you have Google Now or Siri, you can do this. All you have to do is turn on Google Now, activate it by saying, "Okay, Google," or using the button, "Okay, Google." Oh, now it's wanting me to use the button because I just did a bunch of stuff. So it's lagging out because I had the app open. Here we go. What's the weather like today? Oh, I have the sound turned off. Here we go. Give it a sec. Don't you hate it when that happens? No, it lagged out because I had the GPS app open during the break. What's the weather like today? And then you can do this with any phone. You can do this with your Android phone. You can do it with your iPhone, and it'll tell you what the weather will be like. So during the winter weather, you can find out what the temperature is like in your particular area because it finds your location from nearby cell towers, and then it'll tell you. It's 35 degrees right now in the broader Chattanooga area, but in Hickson right now, it's about 27. So the temperature changes pretty significantly. It's actually 28.9 right now. So the temperature is one of those things that changes based on area too. Because right now in Hickson, it's 28. But in the broader Chattanooga area, it's about 35. So weird stuff happens with the temperature. We can say, "Okay, Google, what's the forecast for tomorrow?" And then we'll be able to get that as well. So we can get your forecast from your phone. Easy as that. You don't have to worry about finding out what's going on, go to a particular weather app. You don't have to worry about going to a particular website. You don't have to worry about any of that. It just pops up and tells you. So we can do this for any day you want to. I can say, "Okay, Google, what's the forecast for Sunday?" Just give it a sec here.
Sunday's forecast for Chattanooga is 50 degrees and sunny.
50 degrees and sunny for Sunday. But see, you can find out the weather very easily that way. That works on Siri. That works on Google Now. It's just really easy to do. It just works. It's one of those things where it just works. Phones are amazing that way. Phones are not just phones anymore. That's something we got to stress. Phones are computers you hold in your hands. They do so much more than just make phone calls. That's almost something that we rarely do with our phones nowadays. We rarely ever actually make phone calls with our phones. It's kind of weird, but it's true. We will very rarely actually make a phone call with our phones. More often than not, we'll make a text or whatever, but mostly we use our cell phones for accessing the internet more than anything. Very rarely do we actually make a a phone call. Kind of weird, right? Hey, by the way, the FBI just came out with an alert saying that fiber optic systems may have been severed in California, and what they're saying might be linked to a complex plot. That just came in. But also in the European Union, they've had a major problem with Twitter, where a lot of users in the EU have not been able to access Twitter. So this is just coming in. We're going to keep you updated on that here on Hot News Talk Radio. If anything pops up, we'll break in and let you know. But right now in California, it appears that fiber optic cables may have been severed in what they're calling a complex plot, according to the FBI. So we're going to keep you informed on what's happening in California. This might be connected to a Super Bowl plot, is now what they're saying. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security are currently investigating this fiber optic systems attack and what they're calling potentially a complex plot against the Super Bowl. Of course, the Super Bowl is a major national event. People always call it a national security event. It's a major happenstance. So obviously that would be a prime target. So the fiber optic cables apparently have been severed. At least 10 is what they're saying, between July 2014 and June 2015 in San Francisco. So this could have been an accident. It could have been a intentional incident. It could have been somebody gardening and accidentally hit a fiber optic cable. We don't know. But we'll keep you updated on that situation here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com. The DHS is taking this very seriously. The FBI is taking this very seriously. So this could be indicative of something bigger than we're being told right now. But we'll keep you updated on that, of course, here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com as well when the Super Bowl happens, Super Bowl Sunday. If anything happens, we'll let you know. Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, hotnewstalkradio.com. Hey, get the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone. TuneIn Radio is the app to get on your smartphone, and it's actually the first one I got when I got my new phone, as I downloaded TuneIn. All you have to do is go to your app store on your cell phone, go to TuneIn, download that, search for Hot News Talk Radio, and then you can listen to us streaming live. Colin Cowherd is coming up in a few minutes at 12. You can listen to Colin streaming live with the TuneIn Radio app. You don't have to go to his website. You don't have to go to a special streaming service. Now, Colin is right here on Hot News Talk Radio. He is the #1 sports guy ever. He's really good. Even I can listen to Colin, and I'm not that much of a sports guy. That says something about how good he is. So Colin Cowherd, really funny too. Sometimes he just does stuff that makes me laugh really hard. So Colin Cowherd is on every weekday here. Hot News Talk Radio from 12 to 3 here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com. He does a long show. He does a really good job of doing a long show, but then again, he has a huge team. So that's just how it is. So again, we can use Google Now for all sorts of emergency situations. You can use that to find out what the weather is like. You can use it to find out where the nearest gas station is. But there are also apps like ICE that'll tell you, or rather that'll tell EMTs some information about you, pertinent medical information, so that when the EMTs get there, they'll know what to give you and what not to give you. Because if EMTs arrive and you have a horrible allergy to latex or something else, they need to know that, because that's kind of a serious thing. That's kind of a very important thing. And if you're incapacitated to the point where you can't tell the EMTs that personally, they need to know that information. So having the ICE app could be the difference between life and death. Have that on your phone, have it on your home screen, so that when somebody opens up your phone, they immediately see that if you ever get into an emergency situation. Of course, if you ever get in an emergency situation, you should always call 911. Obviously, that's the thing that we're all instructed to do. If we get in a medical emergency, 911 will get the EMTs to you ASAP. But that's one thing that can help you out, is an app like that. There are lots of emergency apps on the phone, by the way. Lots of app developers are jumping on that bandwagon. There are lots of different emergency apps that are dedicated to making sure that you can be helped. American Red Cross actually has an app that will alert the Red Cross if you're in a disaster area. It even has little tips. on what to do if someone is bleeding out, what to do in a medical emergency if you need to help somebody. WebMD, by the way, if you have a situation where someone is in serious trouble, you're just wondering about a rash or something, WebMD actually has an app for that, for Android and for iPhone. WebMD, I've used it a lot, actually, just to identify just little things about myself. And it has an interactive anatomy thing where it's a 3D map of the human body. You tap on the location that's affected, and then you can do all sorts of little things to just pinpoint what exactly is going on with you or someone else. Great for parents, by the way. The WebMD app is really good for parents who, it's not really an emergency. It's not worth taking the kid to the doctor, but you want to know, should I get, this kind of cold medicine or that kind of cold medicine? It's really good for that. Or what does this medicine do? I found this in my medicine cabinet and I want to know what it is, what it does, because I forgot. It happens. So you can look that up on WebMD as well. So very, very helpful app, and you can use it on the go as well. And the cool thing is it'll tell you where local physicians are on an interactive map on Google Maps. So if you have WebMD, you can actually find out where local doctors are or local clinics, so you can get information and directions that way. By the way, Google Now will do that for you too. If you're looking for directions, you can just do this. Where's Erlanger Hospital?
Erlanger Health System is at 975 East 3rd Street, Chattanooga.
So you can get directions to Erlanger if you're in an emergency situation. Or, okay, Google, give me directions to the nearest hospital.
Norman L. Elliott OD is 1 minute from your location by car in light traffic. Here are your directions.
See, so I didn't know that. For instance, I didn't know that there was a medical center or a doctor nearby, so then I can get there as quickly as possible. So if I'm in an emergency situation, that's, again, very useful, and it doesn't require my hands. I can have one hand free while I'm doing all this stuff. I can be driving. I can be doing anything else. I can be holding a wound shut, if I'm in a situation like that. And I can call up Google, and I can even ask it to call a number too, by the way. So you can have it call up different numbers, and it'll actually do that for you as well. Google Now will do that for you. You can even, by the way, here's a fun thing about Google Now. You can tell it to call numbers. So like, let's say I do this. Okay, Google, call 423-800-8949.
Calling 423-800-8949.
Then it makes a phone call. That's the station number, by the way. The number to call in is 423-800-8949. So you can call in here at Hot News Talk Radio. 423-800-8949 is the number to call in here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. Any of our live shows, you can call in. Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. The number to call in is 423-800-8949 here at the studio. If you want to talk to David Tulis, you want to talk to me here on my show, you want to talk to Duke at the Patriot Prepper Show, you can do all of that. Number to call in is 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949 is the number to call in. We're also on Periscope. We do Periscope streams on the regular, so you can get us on Periscope. Just go to Hot News Talk Radio. Whenever you see a Periscope stream, we'll pop up. The Periscope app, by the way, is really good. If you're wondering about emergencies going on, that's another app you can use as a resource to tell you what's happening in your area. All you have to do is get the Periscope app. And by the way, when the shooting happened in San Bernardino, the Periscope app was very valuable in giving us information about what was happening. When the when the hotel fire happened in Dubai, I used the Periscope app to get a live video of the fire at that hotel. So the Periscope app is extremely useful, not only for news, but just for entertainment too. There's lots of people doing lots of cool things. It's being picked up as a marketing tool by a lot of different organizations as well. But you can get us on Periscope. Just go to Periscope and search for Hot News Talk Radio, and you can see us live streaming there on Hot News Talk Radio. Follow us on Twitter. You'll be alerted whenever we do a Periscope stream. If you link your Periscope to your Twitter account, it'll ask you to do that automatically because Twitter actually owns Periscope. Then you can get alerted whenever we start streaming. It'll give you a push notification whenever we start streaming here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. And we're always here, of course, hotnewstalkradio.com, and on Twitter and on Facebook as well. Go to Facebook and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Follow us there. You get all the headlines that way. Colin Cowherd is coming up next here on Hot News Talk Radio. We have Sean Hannity as well, starting at 3. From 3 to 5, we have Sean Hannity, Hot News Talk Radio. We have American Now with Megan McCain, Ground Zero, and Coast to Coast AM with George Noory, which is actually the radio show that got me into radio. So it's really cool to be on the same radio station as Coast to Coast AM with George Noory, one of my major inspirations. In the mornings, we have America's Morning News from 6 to 9. The David Tulis show is on from 9 to 11. He's one of the most connected guys here in Chattanooga. He knows a lot about the area. He knows a whole lot about free markets and local economy. That's his topic. The David Tulis show is on from 9 to 11. Coming up next, Colin Cowherd right here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Sunny and cold weather continues out there through the afternoon. Highs slowly warming into the mid-30s. Tonight, more clouds, lows lower 20s. For Wednesday, an area of light snow will push in, gradually changing to a wintry mix and eventually to all rain from the south and west late, with highs staying into the 30s. The cold is here, but Dodge City Ski Shop will keep you and your family toasty warm with the largest selection of cold weather clothing around, as well as snow sleds for the kids. That's Dodge City Ski Shop, East Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. And I'm Sorgene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
From all of us here at Hot News Talk Radio, thank you for patronizing our sponsors. It's important that you support people that support and advertise with Hot News Talk Radio, so we can continue to deliver the outstanding programs that you desire. And if you'd like to advertise on Hot News Talk Radio, you can email us at hotnewstalkradio@gmail.com. That's hotnewstalkradio@gmail.com. Or call 423-458-5563. That's 458-5563.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
You need a place for your party or maybe a wedding reception for 100 or even more. Maybe you'd like to host a small trade show for your business and you need a very affordable venue. Are you looking for a place for your birthday gala or services to start up a church? Look no further than the Hidden Gem in Hickson. It's an overlooked, newly appointed reception hall right here in Hickson, Tennessee. Big space, small price. That's right, big space, small price. Call Mr. Chu and ask for a tour. 316-7388. That's 423-316-7388. He'll tell you a lot more about the venue. Rent this venue today. Just call 423-316-7388 and ask for Mr. Chu. You have an event coming up. Maybe it is your daughter's wedding or maybe just a church or office party. Then you need to select Choo Choo Barbecue. That's correct. Choo Choo Barbecue. Whether you like pork, chicken, or beef. Oh, yes. Choo Choo Barbecue with their savory rub flavor. Oh, my goodness. It's making me hungry right now. You add in their delicious smoked aroma, and you have set the table for a perfect meal with Choo Choo Barbecue. That's right. Choo Choo Barbecue. Why don't you give them a call right now? 423-843-9554. That's 843-9554. Call 423-843-9554. Choo Choo Barbecue. You know where it's located, off of Hickson Pike, right there at the Valley Brook area. Don't kid yourself. Your stomach is already on the way. Chattanooga Patriots Prepper Show every Thursday from 11 to noon on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
I love my Flex Loan from Advance Financial. I needed cash, I needed it fast, and I didn't want to get a payday loan. My Flex Loan from Advance Financial is not a payday loan. It's a line of credit. I only pay for the cash I need, and I only pay for the time that I need it. There's no lump sum payment. My Advance Financial Flex Loan is an open line of credit, and I can get cash anytime I need it.
Visit one of our 24/7 locations and get the cash you need today. Advance Financial. Welcome.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy, Chattanooga.
Coming up in the first hour of the herd, the music world lost a great one in Glenn Fry. I'll tell you why the Eagles have always reminded me of the Kobe and Shaq Lakers. Plus, Mike McCarthy and Pete Carroll come clean in their postseason confession.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
You guys can laugh at me all you want.
This is The Herd. The Herd. With Colin Cowherd.
I'm setting the tone.
Best show on radio.
This is The Herd.
Broadcasting live from Los Angeles. The Herd with Colin Cowherd starts now.
This is The Herd. Wherever you may be, however you may be listening. We are live in Los Angeles on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. So last night, Christine Leahy had a great night watching basketball. You watched a lot of basketball last night.
There was some great basketball on last night. I would say watching Cavs Warriors was entertaining a little bit because LeBron didn't do so well, and it's interesting when he doesn't. And then the Rockets Clippers game, did you see that? It was amazing.
I didn't
Went
watch.
to overtime. It was a good game. What'd you do last night?
I went upstairs, closed the blinds, laid on my bed, and cried.
Why? That's really sad.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't sad, though. It was tears of joy. I'm not really, I've done this for how many years? Jesus, it's almost like 25. I started in TV, then I morphed into, there wasn't sports talk radio when I got into this business. You did local TV.
Yeah.
There was no sports talk radio.
Right.
Like the only radio 30 years ago outside of maybe WFAN in New York was maybe you were an update guy or you did news and there wasn't really sports talk radio, certainly not syndicated. It started in the Northeast. So I just did TV and stuff and all that stuff. And then, I've been doing radio now 30 or something years, this kind of thing here for like 20 probably. And I don't talk about death much. And I don't do tribute shows. So it's like not my thing. I try to do topics. But yesterday, Glenn Fry of the Eagles passed away. And I was like, oh, my God. And you know what's great about the Eagles? So I'm going to just talk for like John, you can just grab, John is our producer along with Greg. And you just grab I told you 4 or 5 songs I like. Because what's amazing about the Eagles, and this is you love what you love. It doesn't matter if it's country. It doesn't matter if it's hip hop. And it doesn't matter if it's pop. But like the great, great music takes you places like you can't get by yourself.
For sure.
And Glenn Fry used to always have this saying. He said, people do things to the Eagles. They go on drives. They dance. They get intimate. They go on the back porch and smoke a doob. You do a lot of music you can just listen to by yourself in your apartment. The Eagles are a band you did stuff to. And they took you places. And everybody's got that band in their life. It could be a country band, could be pop, could be a blues band, hip hop. Doesn't matter what it is.
For me, it's Kanye, College Dropout. But it's a little different.
Okay, but it takes you somewhere emotionally that you can't get like by yourself. Mm-hmm. And to give you a sense of how talented the Eagles are. Now think about this. Like the Beatles had guys that were not only great collectively, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison. I mean, hell, Ringo Starr had 2 number 1 hits. That's talent. Led Zeppelin's great collectively. They go on their own. Go on their own. The Who, great collectively, on their own. Okay, the Eagles, Don Henley, collectively great, goes on his own star. Glenn Fry, collectively great, goes on his own hits. Joe Walsh, before the Eagles, hits. Even Jackson Brown dabbled a little with the Eagles, goes on, he's a star. That's talent. Like Denver's more talented this weekend than New England. Peyton Manning starred in Indy. He starred in Denver. Aqib Talib starred everywhere he's been. DeMarcus Ware. They got guys who have starred all over the league. Now they star. New England doesn't. Since 1991, who's left? One guy, Brady. They leave the Patriots. They don't do anything. The Patriots win by system and one transcendent lead singer. Don't confuse great band with great talent singing. The Patriots have a great lead singer. The rest of them are replaceable. Okay, the Denver Broncos have guys who have starred all over the league. That's talent. The San Antonio Spurs,
This is like their 5th manifestation of great. Their talent's good. Their system's amazing. They had the Robinson, Tim Duncan Spurs. Then it was the Duncan, Ginobili, Parker Spurs. Hell, now it's Kawhi Leonard. And that system. A lot of bands collectively are amazing. But when the guys go off individually, the Beatles, the Eagles, those guys before the Eagles, after the Eagles go out, and they're stars. So, and I think listen, Denver's got more talent than New England. TJ Ward started somewhere else. Aqib Talib started somewhere else. DeMarco Swear. I mean, hell, you don't even know. 99% of America doesn't even know who's starting at running back for the Patriots this weekend. I don't know. You don't know. And we're sportscasters. That system. So, and it's amazing. I always said Shaq and Kobe. Shaq and Kobe are a little like the Beatles. That Lakers team, that's an all-time team. I mean, Shaq wins with the Lakers. He leaves. Oh, he wins titles there, too. Kobe wins with the Lakers. Shaq leaves. Bring in Gasol. They win again. Robert Ory's their Joe Walsh. He's got titles all over the place. Like, that's an all-time team. Shaq, Kobe's, and not saying it's the best. I'm not saying the Eagles are the best. You're an all-timer when all your parts can leave and they can go star individually. Like, that's all-time. A lot of these teams out here winning right now, Alabama football, that's system. It's not that their players aren't good, but it's system. Quarterbacks almost look the same, play the same. Running backs go to the NFL, meh. No, you want to know the greatest college teams of all time? Go to those Miami Hurricane teams. They dominated college football, and then they would go to the NFL, and they just didn't play in the NFL. Michael Irvin starred. Edgerrin James starred. Ray Lewis starred. Jonathan Vilma starred. Warren Sapp starred. Cortez Kennedy starred. Brian McKenzie star. That's talent. Alabama's a system with talent. Miami Hurricanes are the best of all time. Those guys, unbelievable. Guys went into the NFL by their second year in the league. They were the best player at their position in the league. So Glenn Frey passed away yesterday, and like therapy, the great bands can take you places. God, it's just Tequila Sunrise.
Where was Hotel California taking you back to?
I think all Eagles music takes me to back.